Oh, we're live, by the way. Sorry.
Hockey Nation fans, welcome back to another special edition of the Hockey Nation Live Show. This is your co-host, called Frenchy, directly from South Florida, and we have to find a second co-host directly from West Coast, Michael Devellano.
Good morning, Pierre.
Good morning.
I was just commenting, like it's weird. We switched somehow on the sides of the board. I noticed. I don't know how to change that. Does that
I don't know.
people? Well, how was the broadcast last night?
It was pretty good overall. It was a good turnover. Done, and then the game was a little bit boring, or I don't know. It was a strange game, but I think they really showed Tampa Bay one step over Islanders. I'll be worried if I'm a Islanders fans the way Tampa Bay played yesterday. Maybe 5, maybe 6 max, but I don't know how Islanders can beat Tampa Bay.
Really? Because they won the first game. Is it just because it was such a close game? I mean,
yesterday Tampa play another. They completely play another way where they completely shut down Islanders. Where it was maybe the best performance on defensive side, I believe, since the beginning of the playoff. It was completely shut down Islanders in many ways and everything like that. Of course, those series you're going to have opportunities, everything like that, but Islanders don't have a lot of chance. Whatever they dominate, maybe more at some point after the half, maybe, but not the point to make Vasilevsky look like, wow, this is great. Vasilevsky had maybe 2 big save where it was completely amazing, but the rest it was not like by the Islanders really off right there. I think my biggest problem for me right now, Islanders, is like they never find out a left wing on Eberle with Barzal, and that's the biggest problem they have. It's just
it's a big gap. Yeah.
That part over there. They try to balance 3 line, but I don't understand what Kamara does on the first line with Barzal, Eberle. Barzal try, but again, you already know what Eberle can do, but he's limited for me. He's not like I don't know. I think he's not a first line on my book.
He's not.
I would see him more like the second line, right? So yeah. I think Barzal don't have nobody around him right now, and that's show right there. And I don't know why Barry trusts not change that line because I don't know. But I see Tampa Bay different yesterday, where Tampa Bay was really strong on defensive side. It was 3-4 players always back, and every entrance of Islanders most of the time, Tampa Bay was 3-4 players back checking. So
we have a couple of our friends have joined us. Michael Rosenblatt, the Canadian Giant, is here, and Denise.
Yep. And Denise and then Chalifo.
Yeah. Chalifo, I like that name.
Yep. So, yep. That's what happening in that one.
It was interesting to me that was the approach that they took, which was to actually play such a tight checking game. It wasn't really what I anticipated, because I always think that what they're trying to do is just make it into a horse race and run away with it, because there's no way the Islanders are going to, keep up with that. So it's an interesting tactic. I think it does give at least the Islanders a chance, though, in those games, because they're very comfortable playing in the tight games. But, I mean, to your point, if you watch every single shift – oh, I should? I have like a Costa Rica cup. Is that acceptable today, Carey Price? All right, Carey Price, can you send me a Montreal Canadiens mug and sign it? Carey Price? That would be awesome. Yeah, so it was interesting, and it was kind of a boring game. I mean, I think I watched it, and I kind of zoned out a few times. I was waiting for something exciting to happen. Like Brayden Point, it's like this guy continuously wins games.
Yeah, that goal was borderline about interference, everything like that. Varlamov couldn't do anything. Zerili was sit on him, move the one skate to another skate on the pad. Varlamov couldn't do that, but on that goal, you have to give effort to Brayden Point, where he's He's almost like diving. He's already on the ice completely, and then he rip the puck and just shoot the puck, and the puck goes between um, the defenseman Pacioretty and the pad of Varlamov. So you have to give him credit for Brayden Point, where now we have 11 goals, 6 goals straight, back to back to back to back to back to back goal.
Like, that's insane.
You know what I mean?
You've got to think. So if the voting was tomorrow for playoff MVP, is Brayden Point the guy that just gets it right now? You also have like 13 assists, I think, from Hedman, but
I think Kucherov is going to get it at that moment with
maybe
22 point, 23 point on.
Is that what he's up to now?
Yeah, I think so.
23 points, Pierre.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
For the playoff, it's really
that's incredible.
Really, yes, for the playoff situation, he's on straight at 8 game, I believe, or 9 game with straight. One more stat, he has like I don't know, it was like 35 or 45% of each goal a point. Kucherov had a helper on that one, so that's another one over there. But would be interesting about that. But I don't know how Islanders can not how they cannot respond, but how they can completely have an answer for the Tampa Bay. Because I think for me, the defensive side of Tampa Bay was amazing. They could score more goals. We did not see yesterday from Tampa. They missed a couple of goals. And the first one was Yannick Gord. Like I just mentioned, 3 minutes before that, he has a bad playoff, and then he scored a goal over there. He has only 3 goals, 1 assist, Yannick Gord. So he struggled this year as a player for the third line. He's not the Yannick Gord we know in the past, honestly.
I just feel like when they need him, he's there, and when they don't, he's not there.
Like, but that line struggled most. You know what I mean? Coleman and Goodrow does not have a good series so far. And then you have like the 4 line. It's really, you know what I mean? So a couple of goals left and right, Colton and Johnson and Maroon. So it's really more about the first, second line. And honestly, you have 11 goals, and one have 18 assists. That's what start right there, because Palat, honestly, play with them, have only 3 goals. Like Palat, that's another, you know what I mean? Like it's really generate offensive right now. It's only 2 players.
Yeah,
that's pretty much they have. You know what I mean?
I feel like they can turn it on at any point, though. It's like they don't seem too concerned about it. They seem to have another objective. If you look at the ice time, it's really interesting. Like, you don't have one forward playing 20 minutes yesterday, and you have Stamkos down at 14-20.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile on D, you've got the Twin Towers there. You got Hedman and McDonough, and 24 and 26 minutes. Like, interesting. Like it's like exactly. They're almost mirroring the line changes for the Islanders. Like, you would never look at the Islanders and go, let's match up lines against them. Like, hey, let's shut these guys down. All right, so we've covered off this game. The big game is...
To give you an idea, yesterday, I don't understand what Barry trusts. Like, Nelson, Bailey, and Pouvillier play only 13 minutes yesterday.
That's crazy. Like, Nelson has been their best
14
player.
minutes right there. So I don't know when you have like Pajot play 16, I understand Pajot. But Zajac plays 17 minutes, Barzan 19 minutes. What's Palmieri? 18 minutes. So he played really with the third line yesterday compared like he was supposed. So I don't know.
Seems like a mistake. I don't know.
He played also like only 13 minutes, Thompson. It's really surprising that what's going on over there.
Brian has joined us, and there's lots of discussion between. Looks like all of our people are friends. And guess who else we have here? Brad Marchand's son is back.
Yep, he's back again this morning.
Do you wish you were in the playoffs, Brad Marchand, or are you happy doing whatever you're doing? What do you do?
They play golf right now.
Golf. All right. So the big game coming up tonight that I'm sure everyone's anticipating is Montreal versus Vegas. What do you anticipate tonight? I mean, they split the series in Vegas, so Montreal, I think, accomplished what would have been my goal if I'm the coach. What do you see for going back?
I feel like yes, tonight Montreal will win tonight. I feel they have the momentum in the series right now. And when I said this, because a lot of people they will believe what they was said. They cannot beat Vegas, so the Vegas is going to be easy to get that series all the way. And then Vegas, I think Montreal show more who they are at the second game. I think that will helping them to back home. Secondly, maybe not, but I think it's a series where the coach play an important role as the line versus line, right? The Pacioretty line versus Dano line example, everything like that. So I think that we're helping a lot the Montreal Canadiens to be home, where Dominic Charm have maybe more easy to maybe, I don't know, Zuski versus the third line or second line or whatever happening right there. So I think it would be more interesting to see that. Example like, maybe every time Patrick is on the ice, maybe Weber is going to be on the ice with Chariot. So I think that's a big factor at that moment for Montreal. It's the best of the five, and I want to have an advantage of the ice. So that's another good point for Montreal. I just feel they would step up tonight, and I think they will have a good game in Montreal. We know they have only 3,500. No injuries, nothing else. I don't see any chance on the roster. On the flip side, Vegas have to find a way right now. If you put the roster of Vegas, and I maybe have a question for you about why they don't use Cody Glass as a center, where they are really right now. They have a problem as a center position on their roster. That's not my concern, but that's something.
It is a really good question, because I mean, I think number one, he's getting up there. Like, what is he, 21, 22 now? He has phenomenal level of talent, Pierre, and he's not a small guy, but he's not really like a physical player. And I don't know if he does the stuff away from the puck. And everybody on that team seems very, very committed to the stuff away from the puck. And it's not to say that he's a bad defensive player, but offensively, I mean, he might be their most talented player. Like, who on the four lines has his skill level? But I don't think that's what that team is about. He's still seen as kind of like maybe a kid. When I talk to scouts, actually, the guy that talked to would be Doug Sinclair, that we got to coordinate some time with, because he actually, I think, trained Cody when he was younger, and he has some insights into him. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not sure if he fits with that culture. I'd be curious.
I don't know. He have something there we don't know, because honestly, it's he was 9 overall pick. I think he was that year with Zuski at 13. So
it's the draft too. Right?
Sometimes it's personal between the players, the coach, and the organization. Maybe I don't know. We know he was like he got hurt year after year, like concussion, then the shoulder, I believe, or something like that. I think so. So I don't know. They missing right now a center, and I cannot believe they have to thinking right now Stephenson is really what they are missing right now. That's crazy on my mind to say that for them.
Well, yeah, you're right, because Charlie Stevenson has, he really blossomed this year, I think, and he had a great season. But it's a weird draft, because we look at Nico Hischier went first in that draft, and he's kind of capped out like a 55 point player. We know the issues with Nolan Patrick. The defensemen have all turned out really good. Peterson's turned out great, but he's right in that mix. Like Casey Middlestad, we saw bust out this year. And it's funny, because I was thinking, if I'm the Edmonton Oilers and it's my off season, I'm trying to figure out a way to get Cody Glass out of Vegas. I'm like, can I get Cody Glass? Because I believe that if you give this guy ice time, he can play in the power play. He's a decent sized body, and he's real creative. He's got great hands. And I don't think he's a defensive liability. He's not going to be a physical player, but
it's a really strange draft, because you think about this, not many players like Zuski right now is maybe the one produced the most compared to the top five.
Well, Peterson is first for sure. Middlestad, we saw break out. You're right. Suzuki's played real well, but look at Martin Nikash. His numbers are better than on goals anyway, but they're both similar, right? Like kind of 80 points. It's a pretty deep draft. Josh Norris, we saw this year, was his first year. He played phenomenal. So I don't know. Kyler Yamamoto's gonna bounce back. He looked good in the last couple playoff games, but Tolvanen had a breakout year. So maybe we're just being impatient with this group because all those players are still. Michael Rasmussen just came in and started producing, right? So maybe we just gotta wait a year. But you gotta wonder: is he even in this team's plans?
Yep.
It's kind of weird, And same thing, Velarde, he's just starting to come into his own. So maybe it's just because of some of these guys started out so well. Like Peterson was like, yeah, I'm in the NHL now. I'm going to score a point a game.
Yep.
Cale Makar, like Colorado was widely criticized for taking him at 4 because all the other guys around him were in the NHL. You can see he's only played 100 NHL games versus like kind of 200 for these other guys, but now he's probably the best of them. So it might just be time. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe we're just being impatient, but it's got to happen soon, I think.
You have to give credit Colorado to pick a kid's 4th-round pick on the AJHL, and that surprised me a lot.
I think we all knew what Cale Makar was, and there was talk about him going first, but you knew he was going to go to university. So that was the thing. The thing that was weird for me, they navigate away. Thanks, Hockey DB. What was weird for me was his snub of Team Canada at the time. Because Team Canada wanted him to play and he wouldn't play. So it was a little bit strange. So you knew that he was only in the AJ because he was going to UMass. And that was really what it was about. He didn't finish, he left early, but for the NHL, it was like, well, when's this guy going to arrive? He made kind of a playoff appearance here, and it was like, ooh, that guy's really good. Yeah. And now we know what we got. All right. So for tonight's game, what's your prediction, guys? We see, wanted to acknowledge a couple of people. We got Baltimore Ravens. Have we met Baltimore yet?
Nope.
No. Our friend Connor's here. We had someone else pop in that I wanted to acknowledge. Joseph joined in. And we've seen Joseph before.
Yep.
Montreal has to do a better job of not taking penalties. What do you think about that? I thought they did an okay job last game, didn't they?
I think, it's a right now they do well. I think the last game, the first game, they struggle a bit, but it's not a series right now. They have only 9 power play since the beginning of the playoff. That round number 2, 3, and 6 of them are Vegas, and 3 of them is again Montreal. Montreal is 1-3, Vegas is 0-6. Of course, you have to get out. The power play Vegas is bad. It's at 11.8 right now. The Montreal, their PK is number 1 with 91.8. That's pretty amazing when you see that on the the special team. That's helping them too. I think for Montreal, I think overall the stats are a little bit more advantage than Vegas. But I think if you look about deeper, the key right now is the Jeff Petrie impact. Game number 2, Jeff Petrie on my stat I got from Anthred. I will give you an example where Jeff Petrie has here we go. You have entree target 20 times Petrie. And he has compared to the rest, Weber is only 13, Chariot 11. So you can see he's the number 1 on the entry target with carrying the against and entry Daniel pass allo. So you can see he make an impact completely on the defensive side on the defense for the Montreal Canadiens. Another thing is really, I think we don't talk a lot about that, Michael. And I think that's why I really believe, I could be wrong this, but I really believe Montreal is where they are right now because of Cole Caulfield. I would be maybe crazy. People would tell me what the heck he's talking about. I really believe Cole Caulfield have an impact for me, exactly what Taylor Hall did for the Boston Bruins, where they patch the hole what they don't have before. That's really what happening with Cole Caulfield for Montreal. because Boston changed when they got Taylor out because they stabilized the top two line. Exactly what Michael right now is Islander does not have on the top line with Eberle and Barzell. I think Cole Caulfield satisfy Suzuki and Toffoli together, and he contribute so much. Like he was number one right now on the shot in the pass game number two. And number two was in the second players was Joel Edmondson, and the third one was Jeff Petrie. It's pair number two for Montreal Canadiens, have the most shots and the most passing the last game. So that gives you an idea how they contribute a lot during on the offensive side for the Montreal Canadiens. I think that's what the impact for me is the big for Montreal Canadiens. That said, Vegas, Vegas is completely dominate more. Example, I will give you 5 versus 5 shot. Montreal 54, Vegas 53. Shot on the goal, 16 Montreal versus Vegas on 23. Scoring chance, pretty even, 11-10. But the half rush, Vegas is 24, Michael, versus 11 only for Montreal. So they have to be careful about the half rush for the Vegas. And because they do a lot of stretch pass, the Vegas, that's why they really, really dominate about that one. And again, you can enter zone 5 versus 5. Montreal 64, Vegas 78. They dominate more on the offensive side during that series so far. But again, what Jeff Petrie does for Montreal is it's the same thing what Alex Pietrangelo does for the Vegas Golden Knights, and that's why those players have to be. They have to find a way. I like Gaetan Kolzar play his best game of his career in NHL last game.
Oh, he is. I really like him, Pierre. Like he reminds me of Alex Tuch like 4 years ago. And we saw him in Seattle, and he's just a big body. He goes to the net, and he's got pretty good hands, and he'll do the forecheck, back check stuff you want.
Yep.
It's kind of funny how, though, going back to Cody Glass, like he more fits the prototype, and he's playing top line sometimes. You get some shifts there more than Cody Glass. Actually, Brad Marchand's son he says 5 goals and 12 assists for Nick Hague. So Nick Hague, first of all, is a defenseman. 4 goals and 6 assists for Glass. I just don't think Glass is getting opportunity. They're just not. And I agree with you that Nick Hague is underrated. Like Pierre knows that I really like Nick Hague. And I think he was part of the reason they felt comfortable trading Eric Brandstrom, trading Nick Suzuki. Like that first draft that they had, all those guys came from that draft, Pierre.
It's funny because they didn't want to give Cody Glass. Montreal request Cody Glass versus Suzuki during the trade. I
mean, I still think that's the thing. Like, I still think that Cody Glass is probably more than capable of being better than Nick Suzuki. Like, when you watch him, you're like, this guy's really talented and at a pro level. Like, he makes pro plays with the puck, and he can shoot the puck, Pierre. Like, you think Nick Suzuki can shoot the puck. I think he can shoot the puck better. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. If I'm another team, I'm targeting him and figuring out a way to get him out of there. Anyways, I think you are correct. I agree with you on the Cole Caulfield comment. And I kind of said this before. I know he's a right winger, but he plays more like a center. He is able to distribute pucks. Pucks can go through him, and he's going to make the right decision. And I think that's the big thing about Cole Caulfield. And we know he can shoot the puck, but his biggest thing is finding space. He's able to, in small areas, open up enough space that he can get the shot off, or he can get the pass through a seam. And I think that's something that Montreal's been missing.
And he play also left wing. When I said left wing, he play on the 3 lanes. So when he's a right wing, but when he comes on the left wing, he can find a way to open up his hip to pass the puck very perfectly. Second thing he does well, he does not shoot the puck over the goaltender a lot.
That's a good point.
Compared to other goaltender, he have a lot of rebound. Every time he shoot the puck, it's post or he hit the goaltender, he have a rebound usually. You have a really strong shot. So for me, it's really, really the one make an impact for me for Montreal.
I totally agree with you. From the beginning, I was a big advocate of playing him, and I know people were concerned about it. But for me, when I looked at the 10 games I saw him during the regular season, I'm like, he's the most talented overall package on that team. I realize he's 5'7". I realize he's a rookie, but you don't see that level of play. And I'm really happy that he's fitting in so well. And I think he's just going to get better and better.
And again, we don't talk enough. It's not a guy who's going to be a zone coverage to pick up the puck on the board, everything like that, because his physicality. But he does not put his team on turnover or on the coverage. Is pretty good to cover, and he create more opportunities to stop the puck on the lane like anybody else. So for a rookie, like he's 20 years old, he played about 20 games in NHL maybe. I think that show a lot who he is. So that's why you see.
I agree.
You have to look about both sides, and I think he's not like like he really do well on both sides of the game.
That's totally been, the thing I've noticed. And I think to your point, he might not get into a physical battle with you, but his stick is on the puck and he finds ways to make room on the boards to come out with it or push it forward. So I think that's what I noticed about him.
I don't want to compare to him a lot because he's another step, but if you look, you watch a lot Pavel Datsyuk, right? Datsyuk, he was the one really, he was not physical at all. He's like 5'10", maybe. I don't know what.
Yeah,
he was not the big guy, right? But
10,
the way he was going to corner a battle 1 versus 1, 80% of the chance he would pick up the puck out in the corner because he knew what to do. So he was smart to realize that. So my point to you is like, I think Cole Caulfield, he knows what he can do and he knows what he can pick up the puck at the right thing. That's the reason why he don't create a lot of turnover.
I agree. I think that's why I noticed too, is I think it's an interesting comparison. Datsyuk had an unusually long stick and he used it very effectively. And you would think you beat him, and that stick came around and took the puck back, and then you were behind the play all of a sudden, right? So I think Caulfield's got that thing where he gets into a small area and he's thinking, how do I pull the puck out and get on the offensive side of the play? And to him, it's an opportunity, right? So he recognizes he's an interesting player. We have some people that jumped into the chat that I wanted to acknowledge. We mentioned Connor before, so welcome, Connor. And Bud the Monkey joined us. And then I'm curious, we have Islanders 541, but we also have Oilers 541. Are you guys related?
Oh.
And then our friend Anthony Manzano, you say it much better than I could ever say it, but Anthony had some questions. He asked about if we can make big-time trades while the playoffs are on. And I think the key is if you're not in the playoffs, you can make trades. And you can sign free agents. Montreal should trade Gallagher and a second pick for Glass. 2 second picks for Glass, depending on if he gets signed by Vegas, because I think he's an RFA. What's the Robin Lehner part? Oh, you're saying trade Lehner and Gallagher and 2 second picks to get Cody Glass? That's a lot.
Yeah, I just want to be back on the Anthony. You cannot trade. You cannot do any. You cannot sign UFA at all.
Right now?
Right now. The day UFA is July after at the end of the season after the draft.
Yeah. But if it's your UFA, you can extend them.
Like you can extend it, but you cannot trade,
right? And
you cannot do that UFA like I don't know, like and tell her all he's UFA now. He cannot sign with Carolina right now.
He belongs to Boston.
It just start in July. Those. I just want to mention this. I see something like that. So
good point. So Bud the Monkey.
Same thing with RFA. You can sign your own RFA, but you cannot offer a sheet on RFA until the deadline, until the expansion draft right now, because this year Seattle is on. So you limited about you offer a sheet, but you're going to have a time after the expansion draft is done. You can offer like at 2 days or 24 hours. You're going to get, you can offering you, but you can sign your own RFA right now. And your own team.
So what do you make of this? Ducharme misses the Canadian skate with irregularities in his COVID-19 test.
So again?
They're saying Dominic Ducharme missed the morning skate because there's irregularities in his COVID-19 test.
Yeah, it's happened.
This happened to the other coach too for Colorado, right?
Yep, exactly.
And so it'll be interesting to see. I think the tests are very, 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 very sensitive.
Yep.
And we're learning, especially if he's vaccinated, that you might be vaccinated and you'll get positive tests above a certain level. So I don't know.
They will do another one today, and then we're going to see after that.
Yep. So it's a very interesting thing that we keep seeing, and I'm not a scientist, but you do keep seeing it where people who are vaccinated, it looks like they have a positive PCR test, but they don't really have COVID.
Yep.
William Sheffield, thank you for joining us from the UK. Brad Marchand says, yeah, he wants Leonard from Vegas to go to Montreal. So that's interesting. I don't know. Do you think that's a fit? Like they've got Jake Allen. Is Jake Allen, you think he'll get picked up by Seattle?
So again, I tried to figure out all the question right now. What question?
Oh, let's do this one. So who is most likely to win the Calder out of these three players? Spencer Knight, Cole Caulfield, or Anton Lundell? So I think he's projecting for next year.
It's a big one over there. It's a two-player play together, Spencer Knight and Cole Caulfield. Honestly, you know what I mean? And with the program on USA, it's really hard for a goaltender, Michael, to win the Calder. And right now, I will take Cole Caulfield first. If it's only those three players right there, I would say Cole Caulfield is going to win it. Not because Spencer Knight is just like, as a goaltender, he's going to get like, 40, 35 game next year behind Propaski. And that would be hard. You need to get like a 24, 20, you know what I mean? Like 24 W with 11 loss and maybe 220 or something like that. So, and then Caulfield, I believe he's going to get, I would not be surprised Cole Caulfield get 40, 50 point next year with 20 to 25 goals. I would not be surprised at all.
I would think that he to me has the potential to have Alex DeBrincat numbers, and he could get 28 goals in his first year, 30 goals.
And for Anton Lundell, it would be his first year also.
I don't.
It would be interesting to see him. It would be interesting what Florida Panthers is going to do during the off season.
Right.
You know what I mean? And but again, Lundell would be a great addition for the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers, they are one of my top 5 team. What they're going to be improved for the next couple of years. Be interesting to see that.
So we both put out videos on this last night, but the Jack Adams Award for Coach of the Year was given to Rod Brind'Amour. We know that in contention was Joel Quenneville, Dean Evison, and Rod Brind'Amour. Are you surprised at this choice?
I'm not surprised. All three there deserve it. I'll be honest with you. What I'm surprised about, I don't know if you see the votation, the result of the vote, but it was like terrible.
It was terrible.
I will give you an example. How many votes you think you got, Barry Trotz?
Oh, I don't know.
Right?
What? Look at this. What? Are you kidding me?
What?
He got 1 vote for third.
Yep.
That's ridiculous, Pierre.
Yep.
The guy's
Robert Demo got 433 points. Dane Evison got 235. Joy Canville got 225. Jared Bernard got 115. Sullivan got 86. Keefe 27. Then Dobar 17. And then the rest over there. It was like, David Quinn got 3. And then you get Dave Tippett with Edmonton at 3. And then you have Jeremy Colliton and Barry Trotz together. I was shocked to see Barry Trotz with only 1 vote at the bottom of that list. That's why I asked you that part.
It's not like the guy has the best roster in the NHL. Like, he's taking parts that fit into a plan and he's preparing them better than anybody. This guy should be top 3 all the time.
Yep.
Reggie Boileau.
Hey, Reg, directly from British Columbia. And not Favor. Good morning, buddy. Welcome. Um, is RFA value less a contract value?
Oh, what happened?
It's not less. It's just like a RFA. You have to find ways to see that. Sometimes you call like a contract bridge, a bridge contract, where you're going to get less. The problem right now is because the COVID. And the COVID make the contract lower. Usually, a good example of that one, Brad, is Patrick Laney. Patrick Laney right now is 23. He has still, I think, one more year. Or no, he's RFA this
He's
year.
RFA.
Only $4 million now, and I believe, Michael, if I'm right, it should be UFA in 2 years.
So, his contract is quite high though, because the second year of the contract was 7.5. So this creates a problem, I think, for him. Like he right now, you don't go, the guy scored 11 or 10 goals. How's he going to get 7.5 in a new contract? Even though the cap hit was only 6.7, like they purposely jacked the second year of it. So that one's a tough one. Like, what do you do? Because you've got to match with a bumper, right? I think you have to take 7.5 plus 10%. And if you don't qualify him at that, he becomes a free agent, like unrestricted, I think.
Not really. You can get he can give him like $4 million if you want to.
Yeah.
Yes.
You cannot. You cannot do that. He's a restricted free agent. In order to retain his rights as restricted, there is a escalator built in where he has to get 7.5.
Did he get a bonus? That's what I was saying.
That's the problem. It's not a bonus. It's made as a base salary in the second year of the contract. So what it forces the GM to do is take 7.5 and add 10 or 20% to retain. That's how you qualify them.
So he's guaranteed to get 7.5
plus 10%.
So he's now getting like 8,200.
Like that's another 750 grand. So 8.2 million. Are you going to pay that for Patrick Laine?
I'm not sure.
Problem. I thought he was a lot lower than this.
I saw somewhere 4 million, 4.5, but I don't know.
That's what I thought. Did they retain anything? I don't think so. That is crazy, Pierre. I did not realize that. I could have sworn it was 4.9. So what I'm wondering is, did they retain any salary in Winnipeg? That's kind of a problem we've never talked about. Where is Winnipeg? Why can I not find Winnipeg, Pierre? Oh, they're there. All right. So do they retain him? Brian Little. I don't see any retained salary. How does that work? That's crazy. What do you do? I mean, Columbus has got an exodus, right? Does he have them over a barrel? So there's Patrick Laine. So he's restricted, arbitration eligible on top of it. So that just talks to what he's eligible for as far as arbitration. Wow, that's kind of crazy, Pierre.
Yep.
They might be in a real weird situation. So what do you do? Do you sign him for 1 year at 8.2?
That's what I said. He's going to get only a 1 year. Now he can go in arbitration, and salary arbitration would decide, but he have no manner. He will get the minimum for sure about what he got. It's not what I saw there. It was nearly.
I'm really shocked at that. I didn't realize that.
But what he was his salary right there on 2021. Oh. Right now you on 2022 right now, right?
Yeah. So we go back because they've already bumped it off. It looks like
because you're with Winnipeg. That's why.
Yeah, but this is his contract. So he signed a 2-year deal with a cap hit of 6.7, but that's because year one it was 6, and year two it was 7.5.
Yeah.
So by arbitration or by restricted free agency rules, in order to retain him, you have to qualify him. And the qualification, I think, is 10% at that age. So it's like you have to take his base salary plus 10%. That makes him 8.2, I think. And if you don't, he can become unrestricted.
Yeah, he can be a UFA, but again, a UFA. Listen, he's a scorer, can go 40 goals per year, so he deserved that money if he scored 40 goals. He just had a bad year.
He had a, and what a weird situation. So he had 12 goals last year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a tough. I mean, things in Columbus are rough. That's kind of rough.
Yeah, that's what he maybe did, thinking to trade him.
Right. Yeah. And then maybe they have to retain some salary. Which is the best duo? Barkov and Huberdeau, Marchand and Pasternak, or Austin Matthews and Marner?
They're all good.
I know. They're also good. I think that the duo of Marchand and Pasternak is really a trio. I think it's Bergeron that meshes that together because you got guys on either wing. So I think that's really a trio to me. Barkov and Huberdeau, we do see Huberdeau play on the second line a little bit to try to spread it out sometimes, right? But not often.
On the three group there, my last one is Matthews and Marner.
Excluding the playoffs.
No, they are not, because you have by duo, Michael, they score more goals, both players. Like Pasternak and Marchand scored, example, 30 goals per year. Huberdeau, Barkov scored 30 goals per year, and then Marner did not reach that level like those four players. Matthews is the one scored most of the goal. Marner is Marner is a bit what Bergeron does on that line, and Marchand and Pasternak usually.
How many goals do you think Marner scored this year?
23 maybe.
That sounds right. So he had 67 points.
20
goals, 47. Yeah, that's about what I expected. 20 goals.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're going to see more Barkov, Huberdeau score more goals, Marchand, Pasternak, about that.
Yeah,
it's a tricky question, but at the same time, it's a great question too. And because we don't talk about the trio, and then Bergeron make a big friend on those trio, where honestly, if you look about Barkov, Huberdeau, now you think about that, Matthews play with Hyman, and if you bring Bergeron, that line Bergeron is better to Matthews, and Florida's still looking for a regular line with Barkov, Huberdeau. That's the reason they split this year, more like it was before.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I mean, obviously, I love Barkov, but we don't really see. We have Huberdeau in the top 10. I didn't realize he outscored Barkov. Did he? Where's Barkov?
Oh, yeah, Barkov has like 50.
Oh, there he is. He's right there.
58 points. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that's pretty good too.
And he played only 50 games.
Right.
What's the next question?
I kind of like McKinnon and Rantanen, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's another one there too.
All right. So we said, do you think that there's a way the Panthers can get rid of Keith Yandle or Anton Strawman? Well, not through a trade.
The only thing I would said is they would ask a Keith. I would not be surprised they ask a Keith Yandle to open up his NMC. Is closed and no movement contract, and open up to send him to the Seattle Kraken. That would be what I believe they can do, and I think they will ask a Kraken to trade with him with maybe a third or fourth round pick. That would be not surprise me. Between both of them, I would keep Strawman more at Yandle on my book.
I think so. Brad, McDavid, and Draisaitl. Who's Brad? Are you going to move Brad Marchand with McDavid and Draisaitl? I don't think that's going to work. Well, McDavid and Draisaitl are maybe the ultimate duo, though, right?
Yeah, if you compare both of them, yes. Good morning, Stefan Manberg.
Stefan too. We got Stefan Manberg, and Johnny joined us as well.
Johnny Golden, welcome aboard.
Is Marner going to be traded? I really don't think so.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think it's the right way, the right one to trade. If you have to trade over there, uh, it'll be interesting what is going to happen over there because they're going to lose Frederick Anderson, they're going to lose Hyman. Um, so that'll be interesting to see that what they're going to do on their on the roster, honestly. When you think about that, they have $44 million with the top four over there. And they're also their
Is it?
situation for the production list is limited because they have to keep their 4D together.
So, I mean, I think that the Nylander contract is actually looking like the best contract of all of these. Like his contract is a 6.9 cap hit, but
For
his
Nylander,
yep.
yeah, he turned around to be the good one because he started to score. The first year, I believe he have a difficult year. I believe so, but he turned around to be a good contract bridge. He become a UFA at the end of his contract. I think turned around.
Look at the way he structured this, Pierre. This is the opposite of the Line contract. His base salary is only 2.5.
Yeah,
and he's got a lot of bonuses. So even he's actually only getting paid $6 million because he got a bunch of front end loaded
but
money.
this is good example if you are going to let it go, like buy a contract, everything like that. This is good for the team.
Very tradable.
But you know what I mean? Like I don't said, but you can see right now, they expect he go like he did. Like he was on line to score another year of 30 goals. That's why I said at the beginning, he was a little bit struggled when he signed a contract the first year. He got 20 goals, I believe. That was the year his contract, Michael. That's what happening.
Yep, he definitely had a hard time there. Carey Price thinks Brad Marchand's comment that until they play in the playoffs, then they suck.
Yeah, they cannot find out yet the round number one for sure. I prefer Barkov Huberdeau on the defense line, especially with Bennett with Huberdeau. Yes, he was successful for them. Again, Sam Bennett is RFA. That'll be interesting to see that over there. They have also Wenberg is a UFA.
That's. Do you
that's
think
another interesting that over there? But I'm not. They are well management right now with Bill Cito. I would be not surprised they get Patrick Laney. My concern about Patrick Laney is the contract you're going to offer because Huberdeau Barkov is only at $6 million. Barkov become a UFA next year, and they are stuck, Michael. If you go down to the contract of Burpowski, Michael, this is going to be kill them for years after years. This is the worst contract. They cannot move it. They cannot buy out this. It's terrible.
Why can't they buy it out?
Because you have if you click on it, you're going to see it would cost you about $6 million to the salary cap for year number 2 and 3. Like next year, the following year. Then after that, you're going to drop at 3,000, at 3 million or 2 million, something like that. That's why it has happened because honestly, you can see his merch like 11.5, 12 million, 12 millions, 12 million, and then he dropped, but not good enough to buy it until his last year at 24, 25.
There's a buyout tool somewhere here. I don't know where it went, but I'll have to check that out. That's interesting. Yeah, that it's definitely because do they have to re-sign Barkov soon?
Next year.
Yeah, so he's only getting 5.9.
Is the guys get what, $9 million, 9.5?
Easy.
Right?
Yeah.
So you're going to have next year, and then you have a lot of contract over there. I think the defenseman, you have a good defenseman. Also on the bottom, you're going to see they have a couple to sign up over there.
Yeah, I mean, luckily the Yandel and Strawman contracts aren't. There's not much left on them. Uyghur at 3.2 seems pretty good right now. Do you think they retain Nudavara?
No.
No. Too much.
Yeah, I think you can click on Yandel. Yandel have one more. You have 2 more years to go.
Well, it's next year and the year after.
Yeah, but
again, look at his base salary. So this is interesting, right? It's only 2.2.
Yeah. So next year, the following year, that will be the year you can do that.
So like a team like Columbus could decide, hey, listen, we're ripping this thing down, but they need to get to the floor of the cap, I could see them moving for a contract like this and getting a prospect.
Oh, they have the floor, Michael, because they have Rowinski, Zed Jones over there, Atkinson. I'm not worried about the flat over there.
They won't have it much longer, though. I don't know. You think they'll retain Seth Jones much longer? It'll be interesting to see.
Oh no, Seth Jones will be traded because he's done next year. So from that, he become a UFA.
So what do you think they have to give up in order to get Patrick Laine? I don't think they would have to give either. They might have to give Heponiemi, but I can't see them trading Lundell guys. I mean, I think I would keep Lundell over Laine right now.
They will request maybe Lundell for sure, but I think for the package there to get Patrick Laine is this part over there. Weigard with Owen Tippett and a first-round pick. They will talk about this.
Feels like a lot given that crazy contract.
But again, Michael, if you put Laine beside Barkov, it's a minimum 30 at 35 goal right away with there.
For sure. But if you're paying him 8.2 and then you've got to sign Barkov to 9 or 10, which you're going to do anyway, but now you've got two $10 million players and an $8 million player, and none of them are named Jonathan Huberdeau.
Yeah, but you're going to have two contracts at $9.5 million Barkov with Huberdeau in the next couple of years. Yeah. And I will tell you why. First, the Florida State tax is cheaper to the other place. The quality life. That's the reason why Tampa Bay did well with Stamkos and Kucherov. Every time that they got, so listen, it's a little bit cheaper, but we play with a good team. Every time that you live in Florida, every time that you have nobody, although the goaltender have a big contract over there. You can see there, nobody have $10 million. Well, that's the reason they got there.
I didn't realize he was getting 9.5.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought he was a little less.
Yeah.
Interesting. This is going to be a problem.
And 2 yes. Next year after that.
Is it
I'll have the same name, but the problem is already next year.
Think about it, he's still restricted, Pierre.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
But he started late, right?
Yeah. Did he? No, he started early. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons already.
And to become a UFA, you have to get what, 7, 8?
I think it's an age thing. He's only going to be 26.
Well, usually at 26, he should have it.
I think 27. It depends. Because this would have been, his entry-level deal would have been what, here? We have to look. I mean, it would say specifically, but let's look at his contracts. So his first contract was 4 years. Wow, that ends up being it says 3 years, though. That's weird. Why does it say 4? Or I see 4 years on this. Why do I see 4 years? Oh, entry-level slide. That's interesting. So it bumped to 2016, 17, 18. What a deal.
Yep.
Wow. And then he got 6, 7. But this is the interesting thing. His base salary is 9 in the last year of the contract. So that's the same issue as Laine. How do you do this? There's got to be something I'm missing. So maybe it's just you have to qualify them at that, but can they sign less? I don't know if they can.
For which one you talk about?
Well, look at Brayden Point. The last year of his contract is $9 million. And he's restricted. So that's going to be an interesting situation.
So this year has $6 million
total. His base was only 2.5 though. So the way they structure,
because the salary, because the bonus,
right? But this year there's 0 bonus and his base is 9.
Yeah. So what happening? You sign a contract $21 million, and then you can give only. Piquet Subban did the same thing. The first year had maybe like $2 million, and then the following year $7 million, because they go with the salary cap for the team, and to be under the salary cap, they would maybe give a lot at the beginning or a lot at the end over there.
Brad
The $9
Marchand.
million, Michael, is what, 22, 23?
Yeah, next year. Oh, it says 22, 21. 21, 22, so it's next
Well,
year.
next year.
No, it's this season. Yeah,
There's-
because
the one's coming now.
yeah, so that's right. Sorry. That makes sense. So they got to sign him at the end of this season. This
Yeah,
coming
but
next
go
year.
back on the team salary cap now.
It's a mess.
The team salary cap, Kucherov, go get Point.
It's right here.
All right, so he was a 67. All right, sound good.
So, but next year's a problem because you still got Kucherov, you still got Stamkos, Yanni Gord's 5, Johnson's 5, 4.8, 4.4. And so, but his last year is 9.
Yeah.
Woo! That's crazy.
Go back on the top now. How much do they have right now, the team?
Oh, cap wise?
Yeah.
Negative. The cap is 81. They're at 86.
Yeah. But I think they bring at 98 when you calculate everybody.
Ooh, that's crazy, guys.
But again, I think this roster, Michael, I don't know, for some reason it's not right because you still have only a roster size of 19. So I don't know if he cut 1 year, but that's something there. You're missing right now 2021.
Well, this is 21. Yeah, because they've switched it. So that's next year.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Let's go back to Johnny. Because of the big contract and the flat cap, could your team take advantage of and trade to help them financially?
I don't know how. You need John. The only way they do this, Pierre, is if they get rid of the John Tavares contract.
The best would be that one over there.
And that would be like, there'd be inquisitions and riots in the street.
For Anthony, they cannot do. They are stuck with Bob Bropolsky all the way. They cannot do anything about that. Yesterday, I was watching Steve Dangle. They are talking about that, about the case. They are stuck with him to the end. Nylander is the most underrated players.
I don't think so. I think he's like a yo-yo for me, Pierre. It's like he does good things and then he does things that drive me nuts.
Yeah, but still, he pick it up this year. I think he grow. I think he can see, it takes time to become professional hockey player and how to come with the work ethic and everything like that. And I think he reached that level this year compared to the year before, the 3 years ago. I think he picked it up, his role. He understands now a little bit more, more mature. I think the word maturity will be really for what he is right now.
Well, I think you
underrated. I don't think so. Underrated.
I mean, he only had 17 goals, Pierre.
But again, on the, it's almost like 30 goals.
Well, it's 24.
You know what I mean?
It would be 25 goals. And last year he had 31 in 68 games. So he's definitely below last year's level. But this is interesting, is the +10.
But he scored seven in the playoff, right?
Yeah, 8 points, yeah.
Right. Usually he does pretty good on playoff situation. Yeah. Look at his stats, like you can see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's why I said before, I think that's a contract. People were talking about moving it. I'm like, why? And I
you
think
don't touch him. You don't move him at all.
There's no way.
No.
Yeah. If the Panthers get Patrick Laine, which line would you play him on?
Barkov.
I would too, absolutely.
That's it. That's what you need. That's what he is. Every scorer, you have the winger, you need a center. And Barkov, he's so smart, so vision. That's the reason why Huberdeau do well with Barkov. But you can see anybody play with Barkov. I see Mason Marchand score 4 goals because of Barkov.
Well, was Carter Verhaeghe playing with him when he got those goals?
Yes, a lot. So that's another one. Take advantage of that one over there also. So that's the reason why Barkov is so good.
Brad Marchand says Boston's going to get Point. I don't think that's going to happen, guys.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think you
Good
let him.
morning, last gaming. Welcome. I think it's the first time for him.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
So Laser Gaming, where are you from?
Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also click on the likes of the show. That'd be awesome. Everybody else we give maybe a couple of more minutes. Any question? Do you have anything? I think it's pretty good overall.
The goal, goal horn going there? Is that like a notification?
Yes, it's my phone. Chicago goals.
So the other thing that's coming up is tonight they're going to award the Selk Trophy. Speaking of Alexander Barkov, we have three very, I think, capable candidates for this. Barkov, Bergeron, and Stone. All of them are really good offensive and defensive forwards. I'm not sure how I pick between this. I kind of think Barkov might win it. We know Bergeron's won it a bunch.
I still believe Mark Stone's win it. Honestly,
Maybe.
That will be my point. He's from Montreal. Welcome aboard.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Brad Marchand thinks Bergeron. I'm really shocked that he thinks Bergeron's going to win it.
Yeah, I think really about that. I don't know if you follow this, but yesterday was the NHLPA player poll. They select for them, who is the best goal scorer. The NHL players select Austin Matthews. Number 2 was Ovechkin. Number 3, Pasternak, and Connor McDavid. Number 4. Who is the best defenseman around all the players? He was Victor Edmond. Was number 1, following by Ozzy and McCarr. Who is the best goalie? It was Key by a mile. After that, Fleury and Carey Price. Alibak was number 4. Ras number 5. Who is the most complete players? Sidney Crosby. It was tied with Patrice Bergeron.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Number 3, Michael, is Barkov.
I mean, that does not surprise me. I think at least the players acknowledge it. Like, players go up against each other and they kind of get it, right?
If you need to win one game, who is the one player at any position you will want on your team? And from all the players, they select Connor McDavid, followed by Sidney Crosby.
Look at Patrick Kane still in the discussion.
Who has the best shot? Ovechkin, followed by Matthews, then Weber.
Wow, Shea Weber. I mean, he has a bomb. It's interesting that Patrick
Who is the best stick handler? Patrick Kane, following by McDavid, and then McKinnon.
That's really interesting that Patrick Kane is rated. I mean, it is the core of his success. Is that his?
Who is the best passer? Backstrom, Kane, Tressel.
I mean, this is. I agree with this. I don't think this guy gets any recognition whatsoever, Pierre. And even as a defensive player, like, he's a phenomenal two-way player. That's pretty interesting.
Player personality, Michael. Which player has the most unique tape job?
Tape job? I don't know.
David Pasternak.
What's his tape job?
Only half of the eyes, after the
top.
The top is covered, and then is the German player Tim Zozzle.
He's taping it this way.
Which player is the most fashionable?
Wow. Austin Matthews, then Pasternak. PK still in the mix. Henrik doesn't even play this year, and he's still in the top 4. Hans Hendrick. This I did not know, which was Rupe Hens.
Who has the most superstition players? Crosby, followed by Michael Frolik.
Wow, what is that all about? We have to look into that.
No clue. That's something I have to look about that. They're pretty good between Cogliano and Perry after that.
That's quite. Yeah, I guess I can see that. Cogliano, that's interesting.
Couple of questions. Would you like to see regional division carry on forward? 68% say no, and only 32% say yes.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's good
Would you like to see a series size schedule carry on forward? 66 say yes, 33% say no.
I agree with this, but I don't think they should be stuck in those divisions.
Which reverse retro jersey is your favorite? Colorado, following by the Kings, and Calgary.
I'm surprised about Calgary, but
they are numbers, Minnesota Wild, they are pretty much even together.
Interesting. But I really like that. This to me is the biggest gap in the NHL, is not having the Quebec Nordique. And the problem is, if you put a team back in Quebec, would they be called the Nordique?
Yep. So welcome, Carrie. Carrie, she's on Facebook. Johnny Cody, will Nick Fournier resign in Toronto? They pay a lot for him. This is a great question. I think they will wait until they figure out what happened with Hyman, And then from that Hyman situation, they need to find a goaltender. And then after that, you're going to say, wait a minute, on my wallet, I have maybe $2 million. And
Yeah. Do you want to stay here? And I
that's
think
what,
if you could get him for $2 million, then that would make sense. But
yes, that would be the reason. I think one thing, Johnny, I would say to you, Foligno want to stay there. Foligno, he's not against, he's looking for $3-4 million. He's not looking for the money. He's looking more for stability. He's 34 years old, bring leadership. I think that'd be a good asset to keep him. Absolutely right. They pay a ton of money for him. Exactly what Tampa did with David Savard. They pay a lot of money.
so they gave up a first and a fourth to get him, or was it 2 fourths?
1 and 4.
Wait, so they gave up a first here, and then a
Both,
fourth in
both,
2022, and then another fourth in 21.
both of them gave them.
They gave Columbus a fourth, and they gave San Jose a fourth, and they gave a first to Columbus. Holy smokes, that's expensive. That's an expensive rental for 11 games.
Yes, because he got hurt.
Crazy, and they went nowhere. I mean,
No.
he's never been a super huge. He's had some seasons where he scored some goals, but he's kind of inconsistent in that department. You like him for his lunch pail. I don't see that as a $5 million player.
Yep.
So I would disagree with you, Brad Marchand. I do not like Sidney Crosby, but he is a very complete player. I mean, I don't see him taking any shifts off, whether it's backwards or forwards. Like when I watch, I've seen Ovechkin live and I've seen Crosby live. In every zone, Crosby's in the play, and he's trying to be the best player in the play. And he knows he is like the most complete player. I don't disagree with that. I think if you look at McDavid, he is a little bit different defensively. He's not giving up on the play, but he's reading it, whereas Crosby's in there, and he's gritty. Like, he's looking to get pucks.
Yep.
Do you think Malcolm would leave Pittsburgh? I don't think you should ever do that. Well, no. He's intentionally signed in Pittsburgh to stay with him. And I think that gives them the best opportunity to take one more run of the cup.
The only way Matt can go is in Florida, and Florida would be hard. I don't see why they would get him. He's already 30, middle of 30, 33, 34, I believe already. And now you get a contract for 9.5 or $10 million approximately. So I think it's not going to be a good deal for Florida.
So, and we know he's unrestricted, and that might be the reason, but I think he needs to retire in Pittsburgh, Pierre.
Well, he's going to be 9.5 next year. So in 2 years, that'll be something. He's going to be 36 years old. Now, at that moment, I'll be honest with you, Michael, I would not be surprised in 22-23, Florida is going to be a strong team. There will be a top list. It will be maybe the top 5 in NHL. And that moment, they maybe get him at $6 million, $5 million, and then he's going to be 36, get him a 2-year contract. And that would be something at the third line, something like that. That would be possible. But I would not touch him until he's become a UFA.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, but that's next season. So
it's 2 years.
Well, no, it's like he plays next year for 9.5, and then he's unrestricted the year after.
Yeah, that's my point. Like upcoming season, then after that. But I would give an idea what Florida is, and that would be possible for him. He's not going to go to Nashville for $1 million. No, he's not going to give Edmonton for $10 million. He would come to Florida for this, or he would stay in Pittsburgh. That's the only 2 locations I
agree. I don't disagree. And they give him some term, like they give him 5 years or 4 years.
And he deserves that contract. He will still have like 36, maybe have a contract 2 years, and he maybe accept at 12, 13, $14 million. But again, I don't know the situation money with Florida.
Yeah, to answer Anthony again, which is you cannot restructure an NHL contract. You have to buy out the player, and then he could sign with another team, but he can't sign back with you.
No, the only thing it was said they shipped him and then saddle, and it was said we keep 50% money we pay, and that's the reason why they all struggle with that part over there.
You're right. You would have to do a multi-team thing to bring him back and give up assets all over the place. Like, I don't know why you would do that. Could Malcolm go to the Kraken? I don't see this happening.
It would not go over there at all.
There's no way.
Yep.
Who do you have winning the Stanley Cup, Pierre, of the final 4 teams?
I'll be honest with you, it's harder and harder right now. For what I see right now, after 3 games, 1 and 2, I have to give to Tampa.
I'm the same, Pierre. I think it's going to be very difficult to beat this team.
Yeah. You know what I mean? If it's not what maybe I want, right? But at the end of the day, that would be. I don't see right now Islander can beat Tampa at that moment.
Anything beating Tampa at this point, Kucherov's super healthy. We're seeing what that means. He's been sitting around getting healthy. So he's like 1.5 a game. Tampa cheats? Well, I don't know if they cheat, but they definitely played within the rules to the end.
They use the rule properly to what they are, right? But I'll be honest with you, it's not the right things to do. They have to figure out something else. But at the end of the day, the Brisebois gave credit to Gene Brisebois. They figure out something. I'll be honest with you, he said that again. I can tell you one thing. The NHL was all over Kucherov, Stanko's, and to be sure, all the injury was properly following by the doctor, everything like that. That would bring, and I can tell you that they did not cheat. They just use the system they can do. But it's not going to happen next year. Tampa have to win this year. After that, this team's going to be under the direction for sure about the situation with salary cap.
Yep. Someone's going to be able to take advantage of getting some really talented players out of Tampa. And I don't know who it'll be.
But again, whatever they lose, Gord, Killorn, and Savard, and Johnson, example, right? What are three of them, right? Example, right?
Yep.
They still have players as a prospect.
Oh my God!
Look, Colton over there. We didn't see Joseph right now over there, right?
Barry
they don't see Barry Boulet over there. We don't see Foot over there. So I mentioned that. I think what you're going to figure out, and maybe a guy like Smith can pick it up. It's Coleman, Michael, and also Goodrow. That's what they need to figure out. Who's going to get that kind of side of player like that? Yeah. Otherwise, they have everything else to pick it up where they are.
Yeah, I think they'll figure this out. Just the way they were very savvy about.
No, my point, Michael, is like the talent-wise, they have it with the one at the bottom, right? But the quality of Coleman, Goodrow, where the physicality, the way they play, they are not many are like them. It makes sense. Like not many have like those kind of players we find at the bottom six.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look, you mentioned Joseph's a pretty strong player physically. Barry Boulet is more offensive. These guys are 24 now. Ross Colton's 24. So they're doing it by grouping guys by talent, and they're trying to move them in at the right time. So they have a system here going on. And then if you look at what they have coming, like they have our player, Gage Gonzalez. He is going to figure out, he's a 6'1" guy that can shoot the puck like anybody, and he's smart offensively, and he's a good playmaker. Where is he going to fit? He's going to fit in the second or third line someday. It's going to take 2 or 3 years. But they have a way to move these guys up kind of in groups of players. It's kind of interesting. It's definitely like, if you want to go work for a team, make it Detroit or make it Tampa, because they got something going on with the salary structure.
Yep.
You can learn.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Some final things. Any club needs the support from their managers, coaches, family, and of course, fans. Very true. And we love your support here, by the way, Denise.
I appreciate it.
Why do you think the Players Association agreed to the buyout for the contracts instead of restructuring? Because a player can get buried in the minors, and you don't want to do that. You'd rather see a guy get bought out, get 75% of salary, and then go sign another contract. That's better.
Because but exactly what happened in football. The football, you can have a contract, then they give away after that, or they say, you know what, this year we restructure your contract. We give you 30% of you. That's not an advantage for the players to do that.
It's unfair the team can go over the cap, but the cap only applies to the regular season guys. The players don't get paid in the off season. How are they going to deal with that? They may say, listen, the cap extends to the off season, and that's probably the thing that needs to happen.
That would be something about that. Or you add, Michael, a luxury tax of the
luxury
contract.
Tax.
So,
right.
for Tampa example, have a $18 million, he charged them like a 10% example with maybe more, like whatever is the amount, right? So we give them, and then the money go back. But they have to figure out something about that.
Like in the NHL is the only league with a hard cap, right?
Yep.
Usually NHL teams guys are sticking to the cap for two reasons. One is, it's the rules, but also because they're going to lose a ton of money. Like NHL teams don't have the revenue of other leagues. Like if you look at the average revenue, it's maybe 80 to 100 million when you bundle in TV, merchandising, and gate. Now you've taken away 50% of that with gate. So teams are losing 20, 30 million dollars. So for someone to go all in and go 16 million on top of that is very surprising. But this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for them, and they've got, probably some money in the bank to deal with it.
But Michael, compared to other league, I think the tax luxury for other league is year long, right? For the NHL, I think if you can keep this at 81 point something all year long, so you cannot cheat on the year. And then if nobody can pay after that, like the happening there, that's where you can get maybe a 50% luxury, whatever is the amount, but that's what it should penalize the team play with $17 million more.
See, the problem would be and I agree with you, it needs to be a hard cap. I just don't see a soft cap with luxury working. The reason there's so much parity in the NHL where all the teams can compete on any given night, which makes a great fan experience, and it is because of the hard cap. But we can't allow this so that, hey, I have so much talent that I can get into the playoffs in a shortened season, and then my best player, Kucherov, comes in and destroys all of you guys who are all beaten up, and he's really healthy. So I think Pierre's idea of, okay, well, if we know we're not paying the players in the playoffs, for every round, you're going to pay this penalty for how much you're over. And if you look at the NBA, it's very rich. Like the first 5 million over the cap is 50%. The next 5 million is 75%. And then you see it goes up to 2.5 times.
But NBA, the problem is like you pay what, 13 players example, or 15 players, right?
Right. And
baseball, you pay like 28-5 or 30 players roster. Now hockey is on 25, 28 right now. And football is 52 plus what the you know what I mean? So I think they have a good the structure of NHL is great.
Perfect.
The key right now is to find a way where situation were happening with Tampa, what Chicago did before that, everything like that. You have a way to do that. Now, you don't have a lot of complaint for the manager because they know they can happening to Montreal, they can happening to Toronto, they can happening to someone. So you don't have a lot of GM blast Tampa Bay, or you don't have a lot of people blast because they know they use the system properly to give them an advantage at that moment.
So I think what I'm suggesting is, yes, it's a hard cap during the season, but if you get in the playoffs and suddenly you balloon up by 16 million and it's one round, you should pay a big friggin' 25 or 30% tax.
I'll give you an example. Like take Rask, Michael. Right? Rask is UFA, but suppose he get like $8 million next year. He was already signed for Boston, $8 million. Then he stay out all year long. He come back only for the playoff. Now he start as a goaltender. Now he get $8 million. Does not count anymore. So Boston use the system properly. We say, yeah, we have a hip problem. You have to take 7, 8, 9 months. That's happening with Kucherov. That's happening with Stamkos because he got hurt, right?
But the way you know what's going to happen, GMs will feel entitled to do the same thing. They'll try to play the angles to get in the playoffs, and then they'll wipe everybody out when all of a sudden all these players get activated, which kind of happens, but it's going to happen to an extreme if there's not some protection in the playoffs. And I think it would be, okay, Tampa, you're suddenly $16 million worth of players that are over the regular season cap. You're going to pay, 8 divided by 4. You're going to pay $3 to $4 million per round that you play with those guys. Yep. And they might do it because they're not paying salaries, right? They might say, that's fine. They're not paying the players anything in the playoffs. So they might just say, that's fine. We're going to count this as a salary. 2 home playoff games are going to get us what? 18,000 fans, 36,000 seats times $100. So it's 3.6 million. We'll give that back.
Yep.
That's wacky. Yeah, we get injuries.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Good to be.
Thanks, Pierre. I really appreciate it. We're excited. You're going to be on tonight at what time?
Tonight, 7:30.
So 7:30 EST, Hockey Nation Live.
Yep. Tonight we are back on the 7:30 game number 3 between Montreal Canadiens and also the Vegas Golden Knight.
All right, we'll all be there, Pierre. We're excited to see the outcome of this game after the last one. I think that Montreal's shown that they can compete, and now we got a series.
All right, everybody. Have an amazing, great day. And where does the fine money goes?
Yeah, the fine money goes into the player fund usually, doesn't it? But in that scenario, I don't know if that would be the case.
No. You talk about the fine money like on the players or for the team?
I think what he's saying is if there was a luxury tax, where would that money go? And I think it would go into the general disbursement to other teams.
It would be on the player, on the team, on the owner team split between for other teams.
Just like TV revenue.
Yeah.
Just like expansion revenue.
Yeah. And the fine money for players, Michael, go usually to community service, some stuff like that.
No, I think it goes to the general player fund. So the thing that supports players after they retire, there's a lot of players.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like they go like they don't go back on the specific player. They go on the back and the
correct
on the because the players before 78 or 9 or 8 days have a specific money for those players struggle every time. Does it make sense?
Yep.
That's what my point talking about.
Kind of like a pension, right? Like it's kind of like there's a support fund for players that have struggles. You're right.
Imagine a Habs fans complaining about fairness. Can they have had the league and the market for years? He's talking about it during the 60s, 70s, about the draft, everything like that.
French Canadian players going.
I think that moment it was more about not the league didn't have no. Again, that's another way they have take advantage with Sam Bolak, but they have no rules or they was not built or structured enough to stop that way or whatever they call it.
Well, I think what they had was they had a unique rule, right? During the 50s, 60s, 70s, where if there was a French Canadian player, the Montreal Canadiens had first crack.
They had no draft, Michael, for many years.
Well, that's it till 68 or no? What was it?
Yeah, so that's what the point he was. Maybe that's the year he's talking about because that's what it starts. So Montreal have a possibility to sign the Richard, the Provo, the Bouchard, and those guys like that, right?
Yeah, so this was kind of the idea that because they had like almost a club system where you could play for the Quebec Rampart, which for a long time, that's where Jean Beliveau came from, right?
Yeah.
Like, here's the best player maybe in the world, Mario Lemieux of the time, and he's playing in the Quebec Rampart, and they just had to buy him.
Yep. Yeah, it's like you can see a kid 16 years old, just give him a contract and it's done over.
Yep. They bought the whole team, I think. This is what they did.
That's how you do that. So, all right, everybody. Thanks, Johnny. Look forward to see you guys, everybody. Thanks, Julius, to be here again this morning. Johnny, everything like that. Thanks, everybody. Have an amazing, great weekend. I will see you tonight, 7:30, for another live stream with the Hockey Nation live show.
Thanks, everybody.